A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Okay, technically it was the 70s and Las Vegas isn't a galaxy away, but that's beside the point. A very tall, well-dressed, dapper black man stood inside a casino elevator with his entourage of bodyguards. The elevator door pops open. Ping! Outside, a very short little old Polish woman stands clutching her bucket of tokens. She looks inside the elevator, scurries into the corner, and stares at the floor. A moment passes, and the handsome man, the great Lionel Richie, clears his throat and sneers, "Hit the floor, lady." Fearing for her life, she hits the floor, the tokens scattering everywhere. Mr. Richie had simply meant press the floor button. The grandma assumed it was an armed robbery. When I first heard this story, I couldn't help but laugh. Seriously, who wouldn't recognize Lionel Richie? But later, a pit formed in my stomach as I realized its greater importance. How our society perceives and treats strangers is detrimental to each of us and to humanity. To better understand this hidden crisis, we must first explore who are strangers and why shutting them out is deleterious and dangerous. Next, we'll discuss the benefits of engaging with strangers individually and as a society. And finally, we'll explore a few ingenious solutions that we can use right now. Perhaps you recognize a few competitors or judges from past years, but the vast majority of people at this tournament are unfamiliar to you in every way. New faces, unknown names, secret lives, strangers. The little 5-year-old boy I babysit describes a stranger as anyone I don't know, anyone mom or dad doesn't know. They aren't nice. Keo Stark, author of the book When Strangers Meet, puts it differently. Strangers go beyond someone you don't know. They're different. Different languages, different cultures, different religions, different creeds. Some may look at you a little too long on the street, make you clutch your bag tighter on the bus, look like someone who wants to cause trouble. To keep us safe, we learn an us versus them mentality. We fear them because they are not us. Coined by Henry Tajfel in 1979, the us versus them mentality, also known as social identity theory, illustrates that we divide the world into groups based on social categorization. For example, in any group of people, you can divide them based on skin color, outfits, drinking and eating habits, and so on. We are taught to categorize strangers in just this way. But all strangers are dangerous. Maria Bezintes, an Intel engineer and TED Talk speaker, said it best when she wrote, "Don't talk to strangers" says, stay away from anyone who's unfamiliar to you. Stick with people you know. Stick with people like you. For young children, this is safe advice. But for teens and adults, it's deadening. For society as a whole, it could be deadly. The psychologists behind social identity theory also illustrate that the in-group, us, often discriminates against the out-group, them. When I don't know someone, it's easy to overgeneralize or categorize someone based on their appearance or what I've heard second or third hand. Once I categorize someone, they're placed within a box and I seal it. They lose all of their individuality and their humanity. And the box is black. We can't see in. But it has a bright warning label. We don't see the people, just the labels. Too often labels breed otherization, and otherization slides into objectification. The isms result: fascism, imperialism, nativism, chauvinism, racism. This is how Islamophobia, xenophobia, and homophobia spread so easily throughout the world. Just turn on the news. Fear of the unknown, of other people, of other ideas, of other countries, spreads like wildfire. Shut out strangers, and ignorance, fear, racism, and bigotry flourishes. Believe that only your perspective has value, and tunnel vision leads to blindness, and blindness leads to many dead ends, perhaps even war. But let's put aside the negatives of the fear of the unknown for a moment and consider the benefits of reaching out. On a personal note, when I was on a flight back from Rhode Island this past summer, I had every intention of putting my headphones in and taking a nap. I was foiled. The elderly woman sitting next to me asked, "How was your day?" And she got me talking. Soon she was giving me sage advice about finding my passions and pursuing them wholeheartedly. I learned her life story. She rose up above the poverty line in Detroit to become a school teacher, then principal, then district administrator. I was in awe of her warm, sincere nature and believed that I could do anything I set my heart to. I know that connection I felt with her that day will never disappear. despite the fact that I don't know her name and will likely never see her again. This sensation of closeness is what psychologists like Dr. Gillian Sandstrom call fleeting intimacy, a social connection with great value. By obtaining this strong feeling of momentary closeness, we begin to recognize another and ourselves as human. Even just a smile to someone on the street is a recognition that a real person is there in front of you. You see them, and they see you. Some cultures and languages are better at establishing this idea than others. In English, hello is a passive greeting, meant to be responded with hello out of courtesy. But in Zulu, their greeting, sawubona, directly translates to, I see you. And the response, sakona, literally means, I am here. Thus, until I see you, you do not exist. But recognizing one's existence is the first step. You see, each person is their own special story, one of majesty, beauty, tragedy, sorrow, and triumph, deep and rich, a special leather-bound volume, unique unto itself. And when we are insular, our library is small, just a few volumes on our nightstand. But there are 7.5 billion books out there to read, and among them are magical stories, drama, action, romance, war, business, politics, and inspiration undreamed of, just waiting for you to take off the shelf and open it. Your friends and family may be great. There's a world outside of them. There are more stories in this world that need to be told and listened to. Saying hello to a stranger on the street breeds a sense of community. Hearing about someone's day helps you gain knowledge and understanding about the world. Listening to a stranger tell you about the worst parts of their life helps you gain empathy and compassion. Learning about a stranger's successes is inspiration for your own. Author Stephen Moffat once eloquently wrote, "We're all stories in the end. To never share yours or hear others is a great tragedy." So how do you move past our fear of the unknown and reach strangers? First, it's important to recognize that there are certain times when you shouldn't talk to strangers. Danger does exist, and there isn't a simple formula to avoid it. The key is perception and knowing how to use it. If your gut tells you something feels wrong, examine logically why you feel this way. If you walk past someone screaming to a wall about slicing someone's throat, that doesn't mean they're dangerous. Perhaps they're just practicing for their poetry round. But in all seriousness, it is important to recognize certain signals that someone is trying to cause you harm. For example, if someone is trying to isolate you or make you do something that's uncomfortable, then stay away. Still, according to David Finkelhort, director of the Crimes Against Children Research Center, our perception of all strangers being dangerous is a diluted one. In reality, only 0.01% of all missing children are abducted by strangers. From 1993 to 2008, 73% of all homicides were committed by someone who knew the victim. You're more likely to be harmed by someone you know than by someone you don't. So be cautious, but don't be afraid to start a conversation with a stranger. I get it. This may be easier said than done. Sometimes it's hard to go beyond a smile or a hello. One method that can be employed when you run out of words is triangulation. You, me, and the thing between us. I tried this a couple weeks ago at Starbucks and learned that someone's New Year's resolution was to read more books by non-Western authors and was starting with Africa. I went home that night, looked at my own library, and realized I should do the same. Author Keo Stark also recommends going beyond the conversation. Put yourself in a place you don't belong. This takes courage, but I urge you to embrace the strangeness. For example, I've never celebrated Kwanzaa, but when I heard the founder was coming to Detroit, I went to the celebration, learned about a culture different from my own, and fell in love with it. By starting these small conversations and going out of my way to surround myself by different people, I opened someone else's story and found a world I never knew existed. Despite listening to me for almost 10 minutes, we're still strangers. So I want you to know a few things about me. First, any time of the day is a good time for pie. Second, I'm terrified of squirrels. And third, singing in the rain is my favorite movie. Now you know a little bit about my story, one of 7.5 billion. So I urge you to not be afraid. Indeed, there are stranger things than strangers. Be smart in the fog of the unexplored. Don't let it paralyze you, but welcome and embrace it. So next time you're on a plane or in an elevator, don't hit the floor or try to fall asleep. Instead, start a conversation, exchange stories, and help change the world. Thank you.